Freljordian welcome.
Yes, a true Freljordian welcome indeed. Welcome to Voices of the Old One, episode 15. I'm Jankie, and I'm joined by my co-host Gomez.
Hello there.
Sentinels of Light. It should be coming out tonight when this
it
launches.
should be. Yeah.
It's so cool. I have been in a perpetual state of hype since like the start of this month, I think.
But to be fair, you've got more hype than me because you play a little bit more, like you know the universe a bit more, and like you play like League of Legends and whatnot a little bit, I believe. So you know this world a lot more. So to me, I've just got the hype. It's just hype from the Runeterra side, but across the whole kind of lore and concept of everything, it is a magnificent thing that's going on. I like the fact that they included all different games as well, like in terms of like each bit has got its own release, like kind of little extra bit because of this.
Yeah, that must have been like really difficult to do, but like just the event happening canonically in universe is like so cool to me. I love the idea of seeing character development, which is something we've never really seen in Legends of, in the Runeterra universe before, is time passing. It does kind of feel like we're in a snapshot of the universe at any given time, and when a character releases, it's like they always existed and they now exist. Like, but no, I love seeing that, like Riven and Irelia and Vayne, I think, have joined the Sentinels. It's super cool. I really like this.
Yeah, no, they've done a magnificent job with just like everything. It's as well. It's the card art as well that they've got into. Like, obviously, we will get into the details of the patch notes and that, but obviously, a number of champions have got some skins which I was doing with it. Only one with an updated animation, I believe. Which
a really weird one as well. Like, of all of them, I would have thought it would probably be Shyvana, right? She seems like the important one in all of this.
You'd think, but people love Irelia.
It's true. People, let's not do this again.
let's not get into that one again. But yeah, no, I do actually like the way that all the skins look, because they've got like this really nice look about them, and even including like Thrash's, like his before Ruination-ish skin.
Yeah, I think this is actually after. I think this is post. I think he's just become like. I haven't looked into this yet.
Because he looked more human. That's why
he looks more human, yeah.
So I thought that this was just before, because obviously, like, I know a little tiny bit about the lore of him, and like, wasn't he like a protector of ancient artifacts or something? He used to torture people.
Yeah.
And then the Ruination happened, and then he became the Warden big boy Thrash. So I thought this was the little bit before, because he looks more human, but I might be wrong.
When he was still human, he was like on the Blessed Isles as just a regular old dude, so it would be really weird for him to have like this ephemeral misty armor.
True.
I think this is just something to do with Viego giving him additional power, because he's called Thresh Unbound?
Something like that, yeah, I can't remember what they called.
He does look sick though. I like humanoid, like more human looking Thresh is like really, really cool.
So, shall we just dive into the patch notes in general? Obviously, we know that we've got the new cards that which are going to be joining the game, which we will be getting into soon. And obviously, we just briefly touched on the fact that new champions have got new skins that are working with this event. But what's quite funny about this event, the thing is, it doesn't matter which one you choose, because you will still end up with the same things. But I do like the fact that they've given you the choice to either go on the Ruination side or the Sentinels of Light side, like as a thing.
Mm-hmm. Is there like has that been like confirmed what the paths are? Because I couldn't find that.
I mean, I saw it on Reddit. Whether or not it was true, I saw it on Reddit, and basically what it looks like is, if you choose the Ruination side, obviously you get all the Ruination cosmetics and things first, but then if you carry on playing, you get the Sentinels of Light stuff, and if you choose the Sentinel Light, so basically, I guess it's like which one you want to display first.
Sure.
But at the end of it, like, you will have all of it. It's just that obviously it will take you longer to get the other side, like whichever side you don't choose. So there is an advantage to choosing a side in that if you want to get a certain like stuff quicker. But at the end of the day, you will end up with all of the stuff. But by the looks of things, by what the events path thing is on Reddit. But still, I have to ask, buddy, which side are you taking?
Um, probably the Sentinels. The aesthetic of the Sentinels is so cool. The new board is so cool. But like, I could go either way. I have no strong allegiance to either champion. Like Akshan or
See, that's the thing. I don't have any strong allegiance to anyone. Like, I was gonna go with the Ruination path just because to me, that's more. I like the aesthetic of that side. Like as you said, you like the aesthetic of the light,
Yeah.
the light side. I like the aesthetic of like like the darker, like what? Because admittedly, Shadow Isles has always been one of my favorite regions in general. Like in terms of like my favorite regions have always been PNZ and Shadow Isles. So and then Bilgewater came in, and that also got jumped into the mix somewhere up there.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where Shadow Isles has always been one of my favourite regions, so I'm very happy. I know that. So the thing is there's a lot of people. Oh, I can't believe you're supporting that guy. It's just like the emo kid. I'm not supporting it because of him in general. I'm just supporting it because I like the look of that side. Like,
the emo kid with rock hard abs. You mean?
That's the one. The one who's been working out while he's been locked away from the sunlight. That's the one. But yes, I feel like I'm going to choose the Ruin side just because I like the look of that side more. But obviously, it doesn't matter which path you choose. Either way, by the looks of things, it looks like you will get everything in the end. It's just going to take you longer to get the other side.
Yeah. It is very close for me as well. Like the art of this, the art and the aesthetic. Sorry, and the what's the word I'm looking for? The things that you buy. What are these called?
Bundles. I don't know. What's wrong? Help me.
The general term for all of the alternate arts, the card backs, the boards. What are those all called?
Cosmetics.
Cosmetics. Yeah,
that's the word. Cosmetics.
The cosmetics for this set are all incredible. The emotes are fantastic. The boards and the card backs, holy crap, are amazing. So yeah, I could go either side of the spectrum, I think.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the art. It looks so nice. Like every single one of these. Like I wish that Draven got a change to his animation as well, because I actually really do like the look of this Draven skin. Like both the first and second, I really do like the look of them. It's just a shame that his animation hasn't changed. I would love to see like these like kind of like green ephemerally kind of blades going across the screen, or like that as he does the what's his face, the whirling death move, or that. Like it's those kind of little things that I wish they had added just as that little bit more. But as you say, the boards look pristine. Like these are the boards whereby it's nice to see.
Yeah, I have like 6 boards in LOR, and I definitely don't need any more, but I
but I want them.
You know.
but I want them. You understand?
You know how it be.
Yeah, but yeah, no, literally they've done an amazing job, and as you say, even the emotes. I mean, for me, like out of all of these emotes, I don't know why I'm drawn to this one more, but the Karma popcorn one is actually the one where I'm more drawn to. I mean, I do also like the is it Ashen? Is his name pronounced Ashen?
Akshan. I think the K is pronounced.
Okay.
But he's a brand new champion in League as well, so like...
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's all hard up in the air right now.
But yeah, I do also like his emote as well, but I don't know, the popcorn one was the one that spoke to me.
Yeah, I think the only one that I don't like is the Viego one, because it's just it's a rehash of the Poro emote. It's like the same sentiment, and the Poro emote is like premium. Yeah, it's like
I kind of got to agree with you there. It's not really telling anything different, is it?
Yeah, and like the Poro emote is the original and the best. for conveying, oh, you interacted with me, wow.
Exactly. Very true. Other than that, so that's pretty much like in terms of like so they added new cards that add these amazing new skins, bald like the cosmetics, off the chart with
Chromas,
this one.
which is interesting. We haven't seen
Yeah, I know.
Chromas in LOR yet.
That is interesting that they're throwing that in because that just makes because that's like do you have to buy each of them separately? I can't remember how the
Uh,
actual thing of it works.
so the way it works in League of Legends, Chromas, you can get individual Chromas for free by going through some hoops in the shop,
Right.
or you can just buy every single Chroma in a little bundle.
Mm.
So I think you can acquire Chromas for free at least in League of Legends, so long as you already have the champion or the
Okay.
skin required.
Okay.
So maybe again, but these are actually stunning. Like they make a huge difference. The purple one is so sick.
I mean, yeah, no, it all looks amazing. But as then the other little things, little miscellaneous one, they've made it so you can actually challenge somebody to a best out of three in the
Mhm.
friend challenge, which just helps out more community tournaments and things like that. Because obviously, most community tournaments it is like best of three against whoever your challenge, which your opponent is. So I guess it's kind of like to help that out a little bit and make it a little bit more so it's supported in game, probably a little bit nicer. I'm assuming is how that helps. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a positive. Like it's, I don't think it necessarily makes a huge amount of difference right
Well,
now,
no,
but like
it doesn't, but but it's a nice thing that they've put in as it can be a best of three, so that you
yeah,
just know that is it when you're going into like tournaments and whatnot. Just like adds that little bit and a couple of bug fixes, some of which that I didn't even realize was a thing because I did not actually realize that Reaper's Bay basically came out as a terrible card. I never actually because I didn't in my lurker deck. I never bothered to put because it was a card I was like, well, most of my stuff's going to be lurk anyway, so I don't really see the point of this landmark. And the fact that apparently it wasn't actually working the way it was basically a toss the top card if it's not a lurker card and do nothing else for you. It was basically destroy my cards for me, please, card.
so I didn't even know this was how it was like intended to work. So if it strips it, so Lurker's Bay strips away the top card of your deck before then checking to see if the card underneath that one is a lurker for the purposes of triggering lurk.
Basically, that is how it
Right.
works. That is how it works now. So, so Reaper's Bay, its whole purpose is that you have it on the board. When you go forward, if the top card is not a lurker card, it will toss it, and then hopefully, if the next card is a lurker, then you get the buff. Obviously, you're not guaranteed the next card after the top one's going to be a lurker card, but if you're running a lurker deck, most of the cards in there are going to be lurkers, so it's only going to have the odd one that's not. So, hopefully, you're hoping to toss that one, the next one, and then it activates lurk so that you
Mhm.
do still get the benefit from it. The way that it was working is it was tossing the card, but if the next card was a lurker card, you weren't really getting too much from it, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
it was just basically a card that was just throwing a card away, and you weren't even getting the buff. Which the whole thing with lurkers is that you do want to be trying to buff them up as quickly as possible, because then you can overwhelm your opponent with devastating stats. That's the whole purpose of it. So it was kind of a useless card. I mean, I never put it in a deck, so I didn't actually realize that this was a problem. But it's nice to know that they fixed it at least.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I think the card is probably still not very good. It
Mm.
fills up the ever so important one drop slot in lurk.
Yeah,
That
that's me. It was never a card to me that I just even contemplated putting in lurker deck that I did. This is actually one that is good because I have noticed this and it really used to annoy me, which was the what you call it units that are when I'm discarded effects now correctly maintain their buffs that they had in hand when they're discarded because it used to as you know me. You know that I love a bit of PNC stuff. So running Jerry Rig and what you call it, running which is more flame
flame chompers.
chompers. It's
Yeah.
made more flame chompers with this in Jinx decks. When you would buff up them in some way, like if you were playing the Lulu version, in which case you might have had something which buffs something in hand. And then you toss it, and it just loses those stats that you just gave it. And it was just like, what? So, discard it. So I'm glad that this is now a thing where it keeps the buffs because
Yeah.
it just makes it a little bit more nice with certain cards and interactions that you could use with that mechanic.
Yeah, and finally, my Jinx, Avaros, and Hearthguard deck is coming to fruition.
Yes, that's the one.
uh,
Yes.
so shall we move on to the spicy new cards.
Let's move on to the spicy new cards. That's what it's all about. These new cards that are going to be joining us this evening, which I cannot actually wait to start like a deck building with. So, yeah, I guess we're starting the champions, right?
Yeah. Do you want to do Viego as you chose Ruination?
I mean, I did choose Ruination, and it is actually a champion, which I'm really looking forward to experimenting with. So obviously, Viego is the 5-cost 5/4 when he first drops, and that is each round, the first time that an ally dies, he summons a encroaching mist. And the encroaching mist is this thing which basically every single time that one is summoned, it grants all Viegos and all encroaching mists everywhere +1/+1. So already his stat, like Viego stats themselves, can start accumulating up. Like the more things that you kill, his stats are going up, and that is every single Viego. So not even the one. So the one on the ball dies. The other like ones that you've got can actually still get those stats. And so I actually really do like the idea of this champion. Plus he's fearsome as well, which is like just a nice keyword to have in Shadow Isles in general. And once you've seen allies with 20 total power die, that's where he levels up. And the level up is it's definitely something I really want to experiment with and have a lot of fun with, which is all about at the round start, which it's still the strongest enemy this round, and if it's a champion, it just kills them.
Yep.
I like that. I like that.
He just kills them.
He just kills them, and I like literally. He's actually a champion I cannot wait to experiment with. I've had a number of different ideas with him. Obviously, like the things that come to mind is that number one, encroaching mist is always going to be like adding stats to itself and dying. But if you run this potentially, like I'm just the ideas that come off the top of my head was potentially in Shurima with that new card that we got before, which is the 1-drop, which can give you the ephemeral 5/2. So that's just 5 stats instantly going into him as being ephemeral. There's also the idea of maybe running him with Noxus, so that you have the 5 ones that you get with the stun, so that it's just stats for cheap that are very easily killable, so that you can help get into that 20 plus stuff dying so that he levels up. And of course, the way that I'm thinking about playing this is in a deck whereby I am also running Rekindler.
Yes,
and getting a bunch of Viegos on the board, running, so that I can just steal all the cards from my opponent, all their board, and it belongs to me.
I had like a pretty an idea with this card. So there's this card that you may not have heard of. It hasn't really seen much support over the past couple of entire history of the game. It's called Atrocity, right?
That's the one.
It's had very little support up until now, but
I know, right?
Since Viego can get reasonably large, right? You can actually use Atrocity to go face and deal lethal damage.
I mean, I've never heard of that move before.
I think it might end up being
that is groundbreaking.
Really good.
That is a groundbreaking idea.
Thank you.
You no worries, anytime.
God damn. Another one.
You know for a fact that is how this is going to be used.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have the spell shield potential of Nasus, but obviously it's within the same region, in terms of because it can go other ways. Whereas obviously with Nasus, you're always forced to go Shadow Isle Shurima, which is not a bad combination.
That's actually quite scary. I don't know how this will end up playing out, but we've had Nasus in Shurima, and we've had They Who Endure in Freljord, but we haven't had a really really big unit payoff in Shadow Isles yet.
On its own, yeah.
On its own, yeah. I could reasonably see Viego having 8 power, which is a pretty that's usually lethal, right?
I mean, I might be wrong here, but my guess is that at some point in the future, we will see a nerf to encroaching mists, whereby it only gives +1 attack and doesn't give health. Because it's that extra, because it seems to me that's the way they always kind of clip these things, is that because with it continuously going up in health, it becomes harder for removal, in terms of you can do straight up removal like Vengeance or whatever, but in terms of like damage removals, like your get excited, your mystic shots, your whatever, like it starts to get to a point where they just start like going past it and past it and past it. It's like crap. So the idea of actually being able to do it so that that is enough. I'm predicting for the future is that they will change encroaching mist to only give +1 attack. That's my
Yeah.
guess.
VA was a really hard card to like evaluate. I would say he stays on board and he gets like incremental value over time, which gives him the same vibe to me as Kindred, who turned out to not be very good. Like I think Viego will probably end up being better than Kindred, but I don't know. And also, just talking about health stats, for some reason I thought Camavoran Soldier, the 3+3/3, was a 3/1, and now I'm actually scared.
I mean, it is with the fact that it's also giving you an encroaching miss, which is also buffing Viego's stats wherever he is.
That's like, a really good stat line.
There are some really scary moves that can now be performed with Shadow Isles. I would just say, can we just talk about the stupidity of Viego's spell, like Despair, with the idea of pick a unit to strike your Nexus, then kill it. So obviously, it's like something whereby the payoff is going to be that you can. Like, can we just say like some stupid ideas that have come to my head? So,
well, Runeterra themselves seems to be like promoting this as like a card for making weird plays. Because do you remember what they did in the trailer?
No.
In the trailer, they despaired their own dragon to level up Shyvana.
Yes.
What?
Yes, they did. This is very true. But what I'm fixing, obviously, like this is pick a unit, so it could be on both sides of the field. So it could be something that can get rid of your enemy's backliners. Like say that they've got like a.
You'd hope, right?
I mean that's what you're hoping for, is to get rid of, say, like a Puffcat Peddler, or to get rid of, you know, the Collector. Like, not that we see Collector much anymore, but the idea of like it can remove an enemy backliner and immediately like go to finish you. But can we just talk about some really stupid things? I want to know, right? If you use this on somebody like an enemy Teemo, does it still put shrooms in your deck? Because technically, the unit strikes your Nexus.
Oh yeah, no, totally. So, yeah, it 100% does.
Okay.
Now, level Swain as well.
No, but here's another thing, talking about Swain, right?
Yeah.
Swain's text just says when he hits the Nexus.
Yeah.
So, would it be an insane move to potentially save your own life at one point, to sacrifice your own Swain to hit your Nexus? If it hits your Nexus, does it do 3 damage to everyone on the other side of the board? That is actually something I want to know, because is that going to be an insane, like, Hail Mary move of, I've got nothing left, I've got leveled up Swain, they've got, like, you know, a lot of things going for them. Come on, Swain, it is time.
Okay, I'm gonna stray away from both you and Riot, and I'm gonna say that this absolutely crazy idea that maybe we should use this on our opponent's stuff.
Yes. I mean, yeah, definitely.
It blows my mind that in the trailer they showed Despair killing their own dragon to level Shyvana. That's so stupid.
I mean, it's not the way that you'd mostly be using that spell, but it is an interesting spell. It's just it's how one will use it. It's one of those things whereby that is a card I could seeing play in a deck where you're definitely running like some form of heals, like, because the idea, Shadow Roll does have a number of different heals, like obviously Grasp of the Undying, Withering Wail, and the lesser used Absorb Soul. So it's one of those things where I feel like if you're going to be using that card, because you could do it as a sacrifice, or even potentially as a Targon matchup, like match up with it. So like Shadow Isles and Targon, so you can at least still heal yourself while removing stuff from the other side, while taking a significant your Nexus taking a significant amount of damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If Crumble saw competitive play for a reasonably long amount of time as a slow speed, highly disruptible spell, there is absolutely no way Despair is not going to see competitive play. Like, this is a slow speed, cheaper, far less disruptible spell. And it also brings merit to Zombie Ash coming back. That deck used to be really, really scary, and combining Freljord and Shadow Isles to get really high value Despairs seems like a payoff that might bring that deck back to life.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because I just because that's the thing. Like, if you freeze your opponent, does it count? Because it does say that. Because I can't remember what was the synergy that happened with Lee. Didn't Lee like at some point when you frostbit him, he didn't actually do his kick because it didn't count as a strike because he didn't actually have. So if you do this, does it? Because it does say pick a unit to strike the Nexus, then kill it. So if you freeze them, does it still go through?
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't do damage. Not anymore. I don't
No,
think.
that's what I mean. They wouldn't do damage, but I mean, would they still die? Because it says strike the Nexus and then die.
Oh yeah. Pick a unit to strike your Nexus, then kill it, as opposed to pick a unit to strike your Nexus to kill it.
True. Yep. You're
Yeah.
all right with that. You're all right with that wording. Yeah. So potentially, yeah, that could definitely see play with an Ash deck running that with Despair. Because yeah, as you say, you get some really high value stuff of just frostbiting out down their big stuff and then forcing it to hurt your Nexus without doing any damage and then it dies. So it does have use in terms of that. I feel like, as you say, that's gonna be the most we see it used is gonna be in Freljord.
Yeah.
It will probably see like some other forms of play, but that's gonna be the most place we're gonna see it.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about the fact that obviously Shadow Owl's actually getting dragons as well? Like that was
Really cool dragons
when
as
I
well.
saw that it blew my mind. I was not expecting to see dragons in Shadow Owls. That like in terms of this little expansion. So
I absolutely love this design. I think this is a great way of bridging Demacia and Shadow Isles for the purposes of dragons specifically. Like, the thing that Shadow Isles does very well is kill their own units.
yep.
And dragons want to strike to trigger their fury or to trigger their Shyvana, and this is just like the exactly what, like, it's just a very clean design, a very good way of bridging that gap. Crawling Viper Worm as a 2-cost 4/3 that pops your whatever you want to kill in Shadow Isles, or as a 2-cost 3/2 that costs 3 additional life. It's a very good aggressive card for Shadow Isles.
Oh, definitely in
I
that
love the
early game,
design.
yeah.
I love
Definitely
the
in that
design.
early game. But yeah, which is I said, like love the design because it's got the either or. So
Hmm.
even if you don't have a unit on the board, like you could technically throw free damage into your Nexus to still get this out early. Obviously, you do want to be doing it on top of something which, as you said, like Shadow Owl's got so many activating things whereby if they die, they're like so potentially is this going to be the birth of the Dragon Undying deck?
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. It curves into Camavoran, I think, because Camavor is where they're from. Camavoran Dragon, the 4-cost that drains.
Yeah.
Um, which dragons are really good blockers because they have Fury as well, which is obviously a weakness of Undying.
This is true, and whenever it slays something, it's draining. So it's a way of giving you health and bury it. Like, and when you think that if you're pairing that card in where you're presuming you're going to pair it, Demacia has got so many different strike things like single combat and all that literally you can still get the drain off of a number of different units. Like, imagine using this card with Judgment just like a wiping everyone up and just healing yourself for however many things this thing takes down.
Yeah, that would be nuts.
Yes, exactly.
I
So yeah,
I think I'll probably try tonight playing. You've got my brain turning now because like I had a Bilgewater Undying deck that I took to seasonals, and I think this actually like fills the 4-drop slot that was very lacking when I played it before. I just shoved
oh,
in
nice.
Twisted Fate because he's good.
I mean, he is good. He's a versatile man who just gets thrown in a lot
Yeah,
of different things.
yo,
Um,
that's nuts. That's cool. I
but
love that.
that's what I mean. They've done a fantastic job on designing the because it really makes it seem like I could go for building a Shadow Isles Dragon deck with Demacia, no problem. It's nice just to see dragons in a different region. Like
Hmm.
it's nice. It's nice when you see anything which is of a tribe in different regions, different places. So just to go off of that, like some of like the funnier cards that we've seen on that side. I just want to quickly point out as well the fact that we got ruined cards. So cards that we knew of in the past, like ruined Rex and ruined Reckoner and all that, like ruined the big dragon in Demacia. Like the fact that we got ruined versions of things, it was a nice thing to see.
Yeah, I like I like that more than champions are being involved in this morphing of the world.
Mm.
It's a cool way of like bringing the event together and making it feel less like a League of Legends event. and more like a Legends of Runeterra event.
So they've done a fantastic job in doing all that. Ruined Reckoner is a devastating card for Noxus, with the fact that it allows you to have a 0 cost give an ally a free attack.
Yeah, so Cataclysm was seeing play in Scouts for a hot minute.
Yeah.
To essentially work as a 3-cost rally so long as you had a Scout in play.
Yes.
And we've seen the new version of like big Scouts that runs Riven instead of Misfortune being very successful on ladder at the moment. So this just slips right on in, right?
Yep.
As
you'd
a
think so.
body that comes with essentially a relentless pursuit. That's really good.
That costs 0.
That costs 0.
So yeah, whenever I feel like, I don't know about you, I notice a few people who, like, I see it on Twitter and whatnot. Whenever you see new card reveals, and whenever you see those little words together where it says like starts a free attack, the bum hole starts a quivering, knowing how devastating that can be.
I think it will end up being one of the strongest cards out of this entire set, would be my guess. Is Ruined Reckoner.
Yeah, no, definitely like a really like a interesting card design there that we'll see definitely play competitively. I feel like that's definitely going to see competitive play. It's because free attack is such a devastator, as well as bearing in mind the region there is very important, because obviously we've only got free attack in certain regions, and the fact that we're seeing free attack in Noxus, with Noxus's ability of having so much overwhelm potential, like a free attack can be like, especially for 0, can be a game winning in that region.
Here comes Darius.
He's like, big boy Darius is going in with his massive attack. I mean, that's what it's scary moves like that.
Darius is so pure. Like, as champion designs go, I hope they never. I wouldn't mind if they buffed Darius or nerfed Darius or whatever, but I want them to never fundamentally change that when he levels up, he just becomes really big.
I mean, he can. It's very rare that you see him, but when you do and he does level up, you kind of know, okay, it's done.
I love his design. I love his design. It's just like very, very wholesome, very exactly on the nose.
But let's switch over to the light side. So if you want to talk a little bit about Akshan.
Ashan. How much time have you got?
20 years.
Well, good, because that's how long it's going to take. Akshan is a 2-cost 2/2 with quick attack. When he's summoned, or when he strikes, he summons the Warlord's Palace, or advances it by 1 if you already have one. What's the Warlord's Palace, I hear you say? Well, the Warlord's Palace is a landmark that has countdown 8, that creates a Relic of Power in hand, and whenever you target an ally, it advances 1. What's a Relic of Power? Don't you worry, I'll tell you. Relic of Power does one of 3 things. What are those 3 things? Well, it's a 0 cost that predicts and draws a card, or you get the point. It's Akshan is like a Russian doll of more and more and more and more, and eventually he makes another landmark, and if you pop that landmark, you get to the bit that we're all interested in. Where he gives you one of 3 choices, and those 3 choices are all insane 0-cost spells. The fact that they're spells is very important. You can, for example, mimic these. You can add another copy to your hand, which is insane. And they do either grant all of your enemies vulnerable and create a copy of the strongest ally that died in this game in hand that costs 0. Grant your champions everywhere spell shield and +2/+2, or the really stupid one, draw 2 and your spells cost 1 less this round. For 0 mana. Mana!
No. Your cards cost 1 less.
Yeah, what did I say? Sorry.
Not just your, because you said your spells cost 1 less.
Magic,
your cards, everything costs 1 less.
Yeah. History of Magic the Gathering. Spells just means everything in MTG. It's like, can you imagine, like, think about it. Akshan's the first spell, the one that he makes when you pop the Palace, can summon a what are the 5/2s, the Sandstone Chargers. The deck kind of like works in a Noxusy shell that aims to trigger Reputation. You then get to your big turn where you've popped your Horde. You choose one of these spells and you cast Mimic. So for 1 mana, you have done any of these absurd effects twice. Draw 4 cards for 1 mana. All of the spells you cast this turn cost 2 less. Cards you cast this turn
That's the
cost 2
words.
less.
Yep.
Oh, he's so nuts. He's so nuts.
Oh, he does. It definitely is one of these champions. But yeah, again, just excited to play and excited to try. It's one of those things whereby it's you're going to be running him in a deck which has got a number of advance cards in because
Mhm.
you want to be advancing that warlords like palace and then the warlords which get horde down as quickly as possible. Because bear in mind that when he levels up, um, it gets rid of the Warlord's Palace and it summons the Warlord's Horde, which is still a countdown of 8.
Mhm.
So in order to get everything, it's still you've got to advance basically 16, but every single strike that Ashen does decrease that countdown by 1, and there is obviously like a bunch of cards in Shurima which can help advance. So it's all about trying to find like the perfect balance of the advance card. Like yet again, my mind started thinking like in stupid ways. As you say, you can run this in Noxus. Noxus, my idea was going to be potentially to run him with Draven for the idea of using Draven's Whirling Death to get another strike. So I'm giving another advance.
Yeah,
Was
that's
where my
another 2 advances, right? Because you're targeting one of your allies,
where
right?
was it? I've lost myself.
Because Akshan, the Warlord's Horde and the Warlord's Palace say whenever you target an ally, advance me by 1. So the you target the ally with the
Even more so,
yeah
then.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah.
so I was so that's where my mind was thinking. I mean, I know that some people are thinking, obviously, Ashen with Tarek, Ashen with Riven. I believe like the ones where people are thinking the most. But I was
Yeah.
thinking Ashen. But I was thinking Ashen with Draven because I like the idea of the Whirling Death in there as well as an extra strike.
Yeah, and the spinning X's count as 0 mana ways of progressing the landmark.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's where my mind was going.
yeah. I think Draven and Riven are fairly like interchangeable in most decks. To be honest, like they kind of do the same thing, near enough. So
And
yeah,
Tarek's also a good decision as well because obviously every single time that you buff Tarek and then Tarek buffs somebody else, that should be advancing it, I believe.
twice, right?
Twice.
Yeah, yeah. It should do. I think it will be like really, really easy to pop these. Like, I think you should reliably pop these like 2 turns after you drop them. I think, like,
Mm.
it's not really countdown 8, like not at all,
Well, yeah, not in the right deck.
not not even almost.
Yeah, in the
Uh,
right deck, this should be going down like quite quickly. And yeah, I love the idea of it. These spells are so crazy and amazing that yes, I mean, obviously the first thought that came to my mind was a Howling Abyss deck with with the which is Shield of the Sentinels plan.
yeah, I'll tell you what this reminds me of actually. Like, what was the name of that one card that made a treasure chest for your opponent in Hearthstone? Um,
Oh, you're talking about was it something the Fox or something
Marvin
where
the Fox. Yeah, 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 yeah.
that's not no, that's where I
And
made the
if
treasure note.
you gave your opponent a treasure chest and they had to guard their chest, because if you broke the chest, it gave you one of 3 random, really stupid cards. Gives me similar vibes where you go through a huge you go through loops like to open up a treasure chest, and then the treasure chest contains a game-winning play. And I love it. That card was really cool, Marvin. I
Yeah,
played it
no,
in Legend every
I
day.
did used to like Marvin. Like, it was just a really funny card to play. Obviously, like the difference between those two cards is that summoned it on your opponent's side, forcing space off of your opponent's side of the board. Whereas obviously this is on your
Yeah.
side of the board, so you are removing a space on your side of the board. But depending on obviously what kind of deck that you run, you can still like find ways around that.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that that Akshan will see play, if only because he's very fun.
Mm,
He might not be fun to play against. That remains to be seen. But his support cards are also very interesting. His entire if I have been targeted, when I am targeted, um, friends are very very good. The grappling hook, 3-cost slow spell. An ally you've targeted this game strikes an enemy. Like asymmetrical strike,
yeah,
where the opponent doesn't strike back, has proven to be worth a ton of mana. Like, people are playing the fucking 4-cost Nox in one, whatever that one's called, bloody business. And
yeah.
like, I think everyone's first impressions of that card was that it was not very good. So I think grappling hook will comes under the same reasoning as being a lot better than it looks.
I mean, grappling hook is one of those ones where it's cheaper. It requires you to do something beforehand because obviously you got to have targeted that ally this round for it in order to get the strike off. But in the right deck, and if you're running this like in an Ashen deck where you're trying to get that target stuff, as you say, for the landmark, and that you should be able to target and then get this spell, or you get this spell, and just it's one of those things. Striking something from your opponent's side of the board is never a bad move, especially when you're not taking any damage. This is like in the same vein as like concerted strike and that, whereby it's going to be your unit strikes, but it's not taking damage. So
Yeah.
the fact that this is one more than a single combat, and single combat would make you let your thing take damage, it's not bad. Obviously, this is slow, but the only other thing to mention there is this is slow speed, so you can't do this in combat. But I could definitely see this card seeing play, and it's not a bad spell to be his champion spell, like by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Just to add to the 20 lines of text that are already on him.
well, yes, of course.
Yeah.
And also the fact that literally if you use it on top of Ashen himself, then you're getting a target on top of an ally, and then he's also striking. So you would be counting down that landmark like a nice amount by doing that as well. So that's what it works with his champion and for what his champion is trying to do.
Yeah.
So not a bad spell at all.
Another card in his package that is pretty scary is the Absolver.
It works perfectly with the landmark and everything again.
But just as a 4-cost that gives +4/+2 at burst speed, it like 4-cost give a ton of stats. It reminds me of pre-nerf what was it called? Fury of the North. It gives the 4 power, and instead of giving +4 toughness, it gives +2 toughness and overwhelm, which which I think is probably better stat wise, but it does require that you've leveled a champion this game. This card like spooks me out. It reminds me a lot of like Fury of the North pre nerf.
Yeah, and as you say, it's one of those things whereby the only thing of it is it does require a champion level up before it will give you the second part of it. So that's why you've kind of got to be like putting it in the right kind of deck. So potentially, which is it's one of those things with like Riven and Draven. If you're if you are pairing this with Noxus, obviously, like they're both kind of okay shouts to go with, because like Riven we know can level up quite quickly depending on how the deck is built. And if you're running this with Draven, with obviously like Ashen's grappling hook, the idea of putting on one of his spinning axes and then like using this so that he's just removing sight and striking with one of his like you could level
really cool.
You could level Draven quite quickly in this deck, with the right cards. Like, you could level Draven quite quickly.
Draven on entry gives you the enabler to use the hook. That's really neat. Zero investment before using the hook, or near enough.
Exactly. So, and then that's already getting him like halfway towards his level up, depending on obviously what situation you are at the time, because whether or not you've put Draven out on turn 3 and you attacked on turn 3, so that you put a spear and axe on Draven. So you know what I mean? Like there's ways whereby you could actually level Draven very fast with this.
Yeah, jeez, yeah, God. There's something actually I was meaning to ask, because I haven't really spoken with any other LOR players about this set just yet.
Anytime.
Scattered Pod. Do you know? Can you tell from that wording whether or not you choose or not? Because it says draw a slow, fast, or burst spell.
Right. I don't know. the way that it is worded, we just draw a slow, fast, or it's going to be one, but it's one of those things, it doesn't say the word choose. And so I would like to think that the way that this works is that you play it and it gives you the choice between slow, fast, and burst, and you choose one of those and it draws one. But I don't actually know, because the way that it is worded doesn't necessarily mean that you get to pick. It doesn't say choose. So I'm not sure. I was thinking the same thing about that card, because obviously if you get to choose, it becomes a vastly better card, because you can put certain cards in your deck whereby you're looking for this certain one. It's a certain type of spell. Now, as long as you put all the other spells in the deck as being like the other kind,
focus.
You know this is going to be a draw, like the card that you want. But yeah, I don't know whether you get to choose or not. That's the thing.
It's really weird. Like you say, I would have thought it would say choose, right? But it's such weird wording. Why doesn't it just say draw a spell that like draw a non-focus spell or something? Like because that's all it's saying is draw a spell that isn't focus speed.
Hmm.
And also, why is it saying that?
they
What's wrong with focus speed spells, my guy?
don't. The pod doesn't like focus speed.
Yeah, you know-
it doesn't like them. He's attuning you already. He's like, burst is all you get.
When they added focus speed to the game, did they errata the old manatee, the old sky manatee, to say burst or focus speed?
I don't think so. I think it's just
Because like focus speed spells used to be burst speed, but with a like does he not work on gems anymore?
I haven't. You know what? I haven't actually looked at him in this long. That like shows how long it's been since I've used that card. I haven't looked at it, so I don't actually know whether or not it changed to say burst or focus.
I couldn't even search for him. I have no idea what he's called. Like I just call him Sky Manatee.
The Sky Man, you understand?
Oh, Cloud Drinker. Yeah, they didn't change him. They didn't errata him. So after they added focus to the game, he just stopped working with gems. That's really sad.
I mean, it shows because we never saw him.
Yeah, true.
We never saw him again. We never saw him again. Too, but he did seem to used to see some fringe play.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, literally, like, I really like this little set. I think we can both agree this is more than what we were expecting.
Oh yeah.
Like-
I thought it would be one single champion.
Yeah, that's the thing, because we knew we were getting like, but I will say it came a lot sooner than I thought it would as well. I knew that we were getting a champion this month because we were told in the why can't I think of name roadmap
Yeah.
that we were getting a champion this month, but I did not expect it to be so soon after the new cards and patch had already happened. Like previously, this actually took me completely by surprise. It was amazing and massive hype, but it really took me by surprise.
Yeah, I like we knew there was going to be a Ruination event. We knew there was going to be a champion set. Is this that champion set? Like, did they just? I can't even remember what the roadmap looked like. Are we getting a champion set like next month, or is this the champion set?
I believe this is the champion set,
and it comes with the event. Yeah,
this is like the Moon Man.
Yeah, this is our Moon Man equivalent.
This is our Moon Man equivalent.
Yeah, except it it didn't introduce a bunch of cards that I hate.
Yes, and also like I do love the fact that because Ruben Zoo worked on this because he worked on the Moon Man one and worked on this one, and he has put in there, like I swear, like somewhere on Twitter or that, I hope that this one doesn't break the game this time. Moon Man, when Moon Man first came into the game,
I saw that.
was so game breaking. I mean, to be fair, Viego, as you say, with that continuously increasing stats with atrocity, I can see that being something which is used a lot. So we'll just have to see. We have to keep. It's one to keep the eyes on.
Yeah. One that I do want to point out specifically, just because it's very much our scene, our meme style of card. It gives me serious Snapvine vibes. Is the Thrumming Swarm, which is clearly fun focused and for idiots like us, but it's really cool. I really like it.
I do like it. It's trying to work out the best way to use it. I wish, like, it to me, this card would have been 100% yes, I'm using this and working a way around this if it said create an exact copy of me in hand. Because the fact that it says create a copy of me in hand means that any cost reduction that you do is not going to be an ongoing thing. It's just going to create another copy that's going to be a 7 cost. Because what I basically mean is like if it just said an exact copy, which I'm assuming this is the reason why they haven't done it. Imagine using this running like Targon's Peak. It hits this to 0, and it makes exact copies, and so you can just play all of these on the board. Yeah. So I can understand it, but for those meme kind of plays, that's the reason why I wish it said an exact copy.
I wish it was just like a 2-cost 1/1 or something. Why is it a 7-cost? What kind of swarm is an 8/4? Like
a Wandering Swarm.
When it's called as with the name Thrumming Swarm, it just like it would seem, and like what it's doing with adding more copies to your hand so you can swarm the board. I just feel like it would make more sense if it was a completely stupidly costed like 1/1, like a 2-cost 1/1, completely unplayable. Or like if it was maybe like a 4-cost 1/1 that got +1/+1 for each other copy in play or something. Like, it's just the stat line and the cost are like really strange and so clunky, and I love it so much.
It's gonna be one of those things where play like I will have an experiment with it, but I don't know whether that experiment is gonna be successful.
Yeah, this is the latest way that I'm gonna lose 100 LP. Yeah.
Exactly, that's definitely the thing. The other one that I definitely feel needs to be mentioned for like meme reasons is the swap bot.
Yeah.
I saw this card and I was just like, I cannot wait to try and make some stupid deck with this
Yeah.
because it is the card whereby it's 4 cost, 4 free. Upon playing, swap my stats with another unit, which just allows for stupid plays either to take damage away from your enemy or to be able to put damage onto something on your side, like Timo or Poro, like Daring Poro. Like
Hmm.
you can use this both ways. I feel like the funnier way is obviously going to be stealing stats from your opponent, but yeah, that's going to be the thing where it's going to be funny to work out how
The
to use this card.
the first thing I thought with this card was it's like a way of storing temporary stats. So I don't think this would be the deck I would run in particular, but just for the example, sparring student, let's say it goes up to like a 5/5 on one turn, you can play the swap bot. Presumably, because this ability goes on the stack, it would go up to a 6/6 before then you get a 6/6 swap bot and a 4/3 sparring student that at the end of turn would go down to a 4/3, I assume. I don't think it would get -6/6 and kill itself.
I mean,
Um,
you like to think it wouldn't.
yeah, I don't think that's how. I mean, we've not seen something like this before. I don't think that's how it would work. I think it would actually, if I wouldn't it go up to a 10? Like, so if it had +5/+5 and you swapped onto the sparring student, the swap bot would turn into a 6/6 and the sparring student would turn into a 9/8 until the end of turn, and then it would go down to a 4/3. I think.
Mean, I mean, we would have to see because I've got
Yeah.
no. As you say, this has not been done before, so I don't know how that interaction will work with sparring student. But it definitely allows for some really funny plays. Either way, either it being swapping your own stats or swapping something from your opponent's side. I definitely feel like this is just one of those cards where it's funny either way.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'll mess around with it and see like what it does with temporary buffs, like until end of turn buffs. And if it works in our favor, then we might be able to make some really like funny stuff happen.
Definitely, definitely. So I feel like that's like most of the cards whereby that we've got opinions on. Unless there's
Yeah.
anything else that you want to throw out there.
Well, you mentioned him in concept, but like you didn't talk about like what he does. I think Ruined Rex actually it does huge things for the casino deck and might
Well, yeah, no, true.
finally be the thing that brings casino into competitive viability.
I mean, we need to remember as well is that with Casino, the buff that Slotbot got anyway, like
Yeah.
there's already things in that that are making that archetype more solid. And so, as you say, throwing in like Ruined Rex as well, so that you can get like cannon shots a lot earlier on for just drawing cards is it like you can definitely see this being played. Plus, it does kind of go on curve with Twisted Fate in terms of the fact that if you were playing Twisted on 4, then going into this on 5, like depending on obviously what you had done. So Twisted Fate blue card, and then also potential rummage or running some other form of like draw spell
Mhm.
in there just before.
Yeah.
Oh crap! Actually, I've just realised it is this
This
round.
round, yeah.
That is that. I thought this was like.
I was just willing
Slotbot.
to agree with you.
Yeah, I do apologize. That's my fault. There, I was thinking about. I thought his card text was like Slotbot in terms of it was the
No,
round before.
no.
No, it is this round. So working out the way to draw the maximum while also being able to play him is actually going to be like a interesting way of trying
Pick
to
a
work
card.
this round.
Pick a card is probably the easiest way, right? Because it means that on the turn you play him, you've drawn 3 cards already.
Yeah, so he's definitely
Yeah.
going to be doing. He's definitely going to be doing 3 cannons.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do love the design, the idea of getting this out cheaper than the standard Riptide Rex, and I just like the idea of just like ruined cards in general, as you said, just like like not just the standard champions, but other cards that we've already known to come and love.
Yeah. But other than that,
Yeah,
I think we're done, are we not?
yeah. No, I feel like we've covered the cards and that. Like definitely some fun ideas. Like both champions have got really nice design so that because it's one of these things where both champions have not just got an instant, okay, they slot into this deck,
Yeah.
they slot in with this champion. Each of these have got like a lot of experimentation that can be done to play them in any region with them,
Yeah.
and that is what I like. I like that kind of design.
I
So
I could not agree more. I really don't like it when I think they've only done it like twice in the history of the game so far, with Tom Soraka uh and Pike Rek'Sai. I don't like it when they release champions and they might as well be the same deck. Like
yeah,
I like when champions can go multiple places and they're not stuck in a certain archetype, and they like you say these cards can go with like 7 different champions apiece.
because it's just nice the fact because both of them just work well within their own region. Because
Mm-hmm.
like Viego #1 just works well because anything that's dying is giving him stats. So that instantly works with so many different things in Shadow Wars, whereby you're killing your own stuff to get which are getting stats like Mask Mother and all that stuff. Like there's so many things that work so well within that region to help him level up. And also looking at Ashen's got a number of things that can help with just landmark reduction, like in terms of like advancing landmarks, as well as like there is also the why is my mind going blank right now? The
What to do?
lucky find stuff. Like you got a lot of
Oh
you
yeah,
got a lot of things. There are ways of buffing within Shurima which are not bad. Even just the spell, like because it's a landmark that he's throwing down, so the 1 mana +3/+1, like that's still a buff, which is a nice buff. And it's helping. Like I said, like both of these fit nicely in their own regions, and then can be added into other regions, and that's why their space is so open, and I love that.
oh yeah, oh yeah. But I think, are we going into the outro?
I believe so.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening. We should be back. Currently, we have plans to be back next week rather than 2 weeks from now.
Yes.
So you can look forward to that. We both do Twitch. Gomez does YouTube.
Hello.
You'll find Twitter in the bio as well as links to all of that. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Indeed. See you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.